Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to go over a topic that is always being discussed, and it's very important. It's about reactions, right? So very, debated on. We see it all the time. What's reactable, what's not? And, people have different reactions depending on their skill set, how much they've trained. With practice, you can easily improve your reactions, but at any given time, everyone's reaction might be different. So the definition of reactable changes. But I really wanted to highlight two different concepts, reactable but also twitch reactable, because I think they're very important to distinguish between. And once I learned about twitch reactions, it was a real mind-opening experience for me. It helps me improve my defense but also my analytical skills, so I can recognize, how did my opponent block that, or is this move good or bad? What is their options in terms of reactions? So I think it's very important to tell the difference between these two things. So let's start off with what's reactable, purely reactable. So for me, the definition of something reactable, it's a three-step process. You realize your opponent's doing something, but then there's an important middle step that you can acknowledge the exact option they're taking, and then you can execute the exact counterplay. So one of the most infamous reactable things that a lot of people have to deal with on their Tekken journey, especially when they're first starting out, is Brian's snake edge low, which is his down forward 3. So Brian's snake edge is a very slow low at 29 frames. It has a sound cue, he ducks down real low, so there's quite an obvious animation as well. And someone's not going to be able to jump into Tekken straight away and block this. That's not how it works. But once you've experienced it enough times, or you've taken it to the lab and you feel comfortable, you can block this almost every single time. It's very slow, you have a lot of time to process what's happening. But what I will say is, even with the most reactable stuff, it's still totally possible that you slip up, you make a mistake one time, there's a lot happening on the screen, there's a lot on your mind, in your mental stack, and, reactions suffer as a result. And, another example of that is throws. So throws are something that I would say are reactable, not with a duck, but with your throw break. So I've got Brian doing a 1+2 throw here, sorry, it just whiffed there. But it's the same 3 steps, right? You see him doing something, you realize that he's throwing you with 2 arms, so you press your 1+2 break. That's the same sort of concept, right? It's reactable, but we know that people don't break throws all the time. You can use different animations, even though they're different most of the time. King can make them look pretty similar, but when you're on point, if you're in practice mode and you're good at your throw breaks, you can break close to 100%. It's just those extra factors in a real game that weigh on your reaction. But the definition is really that when you're on point, and most of the time, something that's reactable is something you're blocking or dealing with very consistently, because, importantly, you are processing exactly what's happening and taking the counterplay towards it. So, how does that differ from what I would say is called a twitch reaction? So for me, a twitch reaction is missing that middle step in that 3-step process we had for a true reaction. That middle step being that you process exactly what's happening. It's more that you see them attack and then you pick a defensive option. That's what a twitch reaction is. You can't actually process exactly what's happening on the screen. Like the snake edge, you see it come out, or you're like, oh, it's a snake edge, I'm gonna duck. But with the twitch reaction, you're like, oh, they're doing something, I'm gonna duck. It's missing that confirm in the middle. So I've got Victor set up to do his down back 4. This is a 20 frame low, much faster than Brian's snake edge, and the absolute vast majority, I don't think you can purely react to this at all. I don't think anyone is. It's quite quick. That might be up for debate. This 20 frame number is where the debate really comes in, but in terms of twitch reacting, it's easily doable, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see Victor attack, and I'm going to press down back when I see him attack. And now I can block the low, right? But I'm actually not confirming that he's doing down back 4. I'm just confirming he's attacking, and then I'm picking down back as my defensive option. So, how can you use this in a real match? Well, Victor's down forward 2, this is a big mid, right? So if I think he's going to do either down forward, if I think he's going to do down back 4, but he actually does down forward 2, if I'm just ducking, I'm going to get hit. But if I'm twitch reacting, I can actually nullify this option, because your reactions, or everybody's reactions, they're only so fast, and I for one definitely can't react to 15 frames, and I don't think anyone can. It is so quick that when I go to press down back, I shouldn't actually get hit by the mid. So what this means is that if Victor is mixing this 20 frame low with a 15 frame mid, as long as my twitch reaction is on point, I should be able to block both. So let's give it a try. I'm going to see Victor attack, and I'm going to press down back. Right? So blocking everything there. It almost looks like I can react to down back 4, but That's actually not true. It's that the mid that the Victor is picking is too quick to mess with my Twitch reaction. So what if we actually change the mid that Victor is doing? So we originally had him doing a 15 frame mid in down forward 2, but now I've set him up to do a 24 frame mid. This is a heat engager, it can do chunky damage, and it's a heat dash launcher. So I'm going to put the low back on, and I'm going to press down back when I see him attack. See that motion. Block the low. So whilst I can block the lows, this mid is starting to hit me now, right? Because it is slower. It's catching my reaction, and because I'm ducking, the mid is then following up and hitting me. Now, if this mid was even slower, like 27 frames, I think that's a bit too slow, because you can sort of do a double Twitch react. Like, you can set your Twitch react to be down back and stand back up immediately. In this case though, I think this mid is too quick for my reactions, but it will differ depending on everybody's reactions. Like, how quickly can you block something? What mids are you going to get hit by? What lows are you going to block, and vice versa? It all varies depending on connection, your experience with the matchup, and your overall reaction against a certain character, and your mental stack as well. I can't stress enough that Twitch reacting is something that takes a decent amount of mental stack, for me especially. Like, the way you use it is you need to identify specific situations in where you want to do it. You can't spend the whole match Twitch reacting to everything. That's not how it works. You need to basically tell yourself, I'm in Twitch react mode, and I'm going to try and do it because I have a read. So maybe you think Victor is going to use down back 4, but you don't want a hard duck. Maybe, you know, in a situation where you've been doing jabs, you think he's trying to high crush you, you think he's trying to get a counter hit on you, you just have that inkling that it's going to come out. Maybe you can switch your mental mode to Twitch react and slow down and look for stuff. But when you're looking at stuff like that, I suffer in other areas, right? You're not attacking, your offense is not there because you're waiting. My throw breaks get worse because I'm not looking at hands, really. I'm looking for a different type of motion. So you know, you can suffer in other areas, but when you know when to use it, this is so strong because you can block stuff like this. And it's important to know though, will the Twitch react work for their options? If they're mixing this low with a mid of the same speed, maybe it's not the best option if you think it's too risky. But if they're doing down forward 1, 13 frame pokes, and they're using a 20 frame low, then that's when you know your Twitch react can really shut them down. So given this is an Azucena channel, I'll show you a situation that I'm sure many of you are familiar with if you play the character. It's going to be up forward 3+4 into lib 2, right? Lib 2 is a very fast mid. It's 14 frames. It's not going to be catching Twitch reactions if they're on point. You know, like, if you're not the best at doing it or you're thrown off a bit, sure, but ultimately it's a bit too quick. But the Hell Sweep, on the other hand, the Hell Sweep is 19 frames, right? So if you're being a bit too predictable and you're trying to use this as your mid mix-up, if I just press down back when I see her attack, right, I'm going to block the lib 2, but I'm also going to block the Hell Sweep. So this mix-up, you know, at a higher level, of course, because this is an advanced technique, you might think to yourself, why can't I hit my opponent with lib 2, but they block the Hell Sweep every time? It's probably something like this if you're playing against someone very good. So how do we counter that? Well, for one, as we mentioned before, slower mids are one of the answers. This is 18 frames. This is much closer to the speed of the Hell Sweep. If I'm Twitch reacting, I'm sure I will block that low if I'm doing down back, but as soon as that mid comes out, I'm going to space, right? But what else you can try and do is keep in mind the Twitch reaction is a reaction to movement. You think your opponent's attacking, you see them start to move. What you can do is you can try and shimmy and throw them off. So you could even try something like this. Notice how that little waddle forward, I just waddled forward slightly into lib 2. I'm much more likely now to get hit by this mid, because not only am I slowing it down, but I'm sort of faking that I'm doing something by stepping forward. So let's test my reaction. Block the Hell Sweep. But now I've been hit by it. So you can do little things like this to make things harder to Twitch react to. So if you've got a fast mid, you can do it in neutral too. Like maybe a little tap forward before you press your down forward 1, for example. If you want to make, you know, down forward 1 seem a bit slower, you can sort of fake a movement like that. You can dash. Stuff like dashing and all this, much harder, right? Neutral situations where you can't exactly process what's happening. If you are masking it with movement, it's the same deal. It's going to be a lot harder to Twitch react because the movement is, you know, masking the attack. So I think that's very important as well. But what else can you do on someone who's Twitch reacting you? Well, as I said before, if someone's using this defensive tool, a lot of their mental stack is focused on this. So you can start throwing other things in there. What if from lib, I turned around into back turn? My opponent's trying to twitch react to my lib, but I've just gone into back turn. What if I checked them with a grab? What if I cancelled the stance and did something else? If you suspect that in certain situations your opponent is doing this, throw them a curveball, because you might catch them lacking. They're thinking about something else. Try and do something different. So I hope that concept is helpful for you. It's definitely helpful for me, and it's very advanced, don't get me wrong, but if someone can block a 20 frame low pretty good, it's potentially because their opponent is not mixing it with a good enough mid. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about it, let me know, and I really do encourage you to go into practice mode and see, what frames do your twitch reactions fall into? Are you faster? Are you slower? Maybe you can practice it, and then think of some moves that might be slow and how you could counter them with a twitch react, and then what the other moves your opponent can use are to deal with your twitch react. It's very important, and hopefully it helps you with a matchup. I get that it's very complicated, but I'll leave it right there. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.